Hello and welcome to Eastern Healing Table. Many people ask whether living with high blood pressure means a lifetime of plain, tasteless food. The answer is no. Lowering salt does not mean lowering joy. The key is not to cut salt blindly, but to build flavor more intelligently. Today I'll guide you through a complete kitchen approach to low salt without losing flavor. We'll move from core ideas to 5 chef-level techniques, a 1-day sample menu, a 2-week taste reset plan, a smart shopping and prep list, practical cooking and dining steps, strategies for eating out, and the most common mistakes to avoid. By the end, you'll have everything you need to cook a safer, more delicious meal for the seniors you love starting tonight. Let's begin with one fundamental idea. What we call saltiness is not produced by salt alone. Our brain evaluates flavor through a combination of acid, natural umami, herbs and spices, temperature, texture, aroma, and even color. That means we can move salt from center stage to supporting role. When we amplify aroma, brightness, and umami, the tongue perceives a fuller taste with less sodium. Keep today's goal in mind: reduce total sodium without reducing satisfaction, so meals stay enjoyable and feel safer for older adults. Now to the first of 5 core techniques: add salt in the last 2 minutes. Many home cooks add salt at the start, then simmer until the salty perception fades, and they add more often twice. Without noticing, the total sodium climbs. The better sequence is to build aroma, release umami, and only then finish with a small, targeted amount of salt. Late salt sits closer to the surface of foods and the top layer of broth, so it tastes more pronounced even in smaller quantities. For soups, dissolve the salt in a spoonful of hot broth before stirring it back. This gives you even distribution and precise control. For many families, adopting this one habit cuts their weekly salt use dramatically. The second technique is to lift flavor with acid and herbs. A touch of acidity increases the perception of saltiness without adding sodium. Right before serving, a few drops of rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar, or a squeeze of lemon, can brighten the whole dish. Pair that brightness with aromatic allies like scallion, garlic, ginger, black pepper, cilantro, basil, thyme, or rosemary. Add acid at the end and use it sparingly. It's the finishing sparkle, not the main voice. Steam a fish and finish with lemon juice and pepper. Stir-fry broccoli and brush in 2 or 3 drops of rice vinegar just before it leaves the pan. Suddenly the dish feels lively and seasoned, yet you used far less salt. The third technique is to swap saltiness with natural umami. When we reduce salt, we need to fill in the flavor structure. Umami from amino acids and nucleotides does exactly that. Everyday sources include fresh mushrooms, dried shiitake and its soaking water, tomatoes, eggs, lean meats, kombu or kelp stock, and tiny dried shrimp that have been briefly blanched to lower their salt. Gentle touches of fermented notes, low sodium soy sauce, a little miso thinned with warm water, or even a light yogurt coating for tenderness also help. Think of a simple shiitake chicken brown. The mushrooms first to release aroma. Add the chicken, and finish with a spoon of low-sodium soy in the last 2 minutes. Or make tomato tofu soup by sautéing tomatoes until they release their red oil, adding water and tofu, and salting near the end. The umami carries the flavor so salt can step back. The fourth technique is to layer flavor. Instead of reaching for one big handful of salt, build in stages: first aroma from your aromatics and warm oil, then umami from mushrooms, tomatoes, or stock, then a hint of color and gentle salinity from a small amount of low-sodium soy or a mushroom reduction, and finally a brief, precise salty finish in the last minutes. In this design, salt becomes a highlight, not a rescue. The result tastes clearer, cleaner, and more complete, and you'll find yourself relying far less on sodium to make a dish feel right. The fifth technique is to make your own low-sodium dipping sauce and flavored finishing salt. Many households exceed sodium not in the pan, but in the dipping bowl. Solve that by reformulating the dip. Try 1 part low-sodium soy, 2 parts warm water, and half a part rice vinegar, with minced garlic and ginger and a sprinkle of sesame or scallion. Aroma and acid deliver satisfaction while sodium stays modest. For finishing salt, combine a small amount of sea salt with lemon zest, black pepper, and dried herbs such as thyme or rosemary, then store it in a tiny jar. Pinch a little at the end of cooking or right on the plate, because it lands on the surface and brings aroma. You use very little and still feel complete. With the techniques in place, let's translate them into a simple 1-day sample menu to help you start. Breakfast is a bowl of unsalted oatmeal and 1 egg, paired with smashed cucumber, dressed in the low-sodium dip we just described, finished with a twist of black pepper. Lunch is shiitake chicken with a side of quick stirred broccoli and half a bowl of mixed grains. Touch the broccoli with 2 drops of rice vinegar at the very end, and skip extra salt. Dinner is tomato tofu soup, salted right before serving, and a steamed fish finished with lemon juice and pepper rather than heavy salty sauces. Drink plain water across the day and try not to replace water with soups, because broths can hide a great deal of sodium. To reshape taste gently and make these changes stick, use a 2-week taste reset plan. In week 1, Cut total salt and soy use roughly in half while leaning on acid, herbs, and umami to fill the gap. The first day or two may feel a little quiet, but by day 3 your nose and tongue begin to wake up to aroma and subtlety again. In week 2, keep the salt last habit, prefer dips and finishing pinches over, dissolving salt into the whole pot, and let broths reduce a little before the final seasoning. Within 10 to 14 days, most people find that salty heaviness tastes muddy, while lighter, layered flavors feel more satisfying. Let's make the weekly shopping and prep list as practical as possible. For staples, keep brown rice, rolled oats, and a mixed grain blend if you like noodles. Choose whole wheat or buckwheat, and soften the bite with proper soaking and timing. For proteins, rely on eggs, chicken breast, fish, tofu, and low-salt small dried fish. Limit heavily salted preserved meats. For vegetables, go colorful dark leafy greens. Tomatoes and mushrooms are workhorses because they deliver both nutrition and umami. For herbs and spices, stock scallion, garlic, ginger, black pepper, cilantro, basil, thyme, rosemary, and citrus like lemons or oranges. For zest, the most elegant way to raise perceived saltiness. In the condiment drawer, keep low-sodium soy sauce, rice vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and miso for light use. Thin miso with warm water to keep it gentle. Sesame and finely ground nuts can add texture and satisfaction without pushing sodium. In the pan, follow a simple choreography. Warm the pan and oil, bloom the aromatics briefly without burning, and move quickly to your umami. Sources: brown mushrooms until nutty, sauté tomatoes until glossy and red. Let liquids come to a simmer and reduce slightly if needed. Then finish with salt in the last moments. For large pots, dissolve the salt in a spoon of hot liquid, and stir back for accuracy. If you're using small dried shrimp or similar salty ingredients, blanch them first to lower their sodium, then add them as a clean umami accent. When braising, aim to reduce the liquid naturally, then season at the end. The result is bright and focused. At the table, small habits matter. Avoid sipping the soup first. Broth is often where hidden sodium lies. Start with vegetables, then move to the staple. Dip sparingly with a small spoon rather than flooding the plate with sauce. Precision gives you satisfaction with less. Pause at a comfortable fullness, take 2 sips of water, and notice how the urge to add extra salt softens. If multiple seniors share a table, replace the big salt shaker with a tiny jar of flavored finishing salt. The ritual of a tiny pinch is enjoyable and naturally limits the dose. Eating out can be trickier because you don't control the kitchen, but you have options. Favor steaming, poaching, grilling, teppan, or quick stir fries with modest oil. Ask for sauces on the side and for the kitchen to go light on salt. Drink less broth from noodle soups and brothy dishes if you want to taste. Share one bowl among 2 or 3 people. Choose plain rice over fried rice when possible. And choose clearer soups over heavy, salty gravies. Most restaurants are happy to accommodate polite, specific requests. Now, a few common mistakes to avoid. Replacing salt with regular soy sauce is not safe. For standard soy can be very high in sodium, so select low sodium versions and dilute them with warm water. Completely avoiding all sodium is not the goal. Either extremely low sodium can cause fatigue, cramps, and a poor appetite in some people. The target is less sodium, not joyless meals. Clear-looking soups are not automatically low in sodium. Commercial stocks, bouillon, and concentrated bases can be surprisingly salty, so sip sparingly. Another misconception is that heavily salting during marination, and then rinsing will remove the risk. Much of the sodium diffuses into the food and will not wash out. It's better to start with less. To make success easier at home, consider a family plan. First, swap the salt shaker for a small measuring spoon, so the day's total becomes visible. Second, designate a low sodium corner in the fridge with low sodium soy, rice vinegar, lemon, herbs, and your flavored finishing salt. Third, batch prepare a mushroom stock or a light kombu stock on weekends. Freeze it in small portions, and drop a cube into weekday dishes to deliver umami instantly. Fourth, agree as a family that salt belongs in the last 2 minutes. Whoever cooks follows the same rule. Fifth, keep a simple note on your phone and log the week's favorite low salt dish. Confidence grows when wins are recorded. If someone at home also manages kidney issues, or has to limit potassium, tailor ingredients and portions with a healthcare professional's guidance. The low salt principle still holds, but choose umami sources more carefully, use broths thoughtfully, and lean harder on herbs, pepper, citrus, and gentle proteins like eggs and chicken. The spirit remains the same. Lower sodium while building flavor with method, not with excess. Let's close with a quick recap. High blood pressure eating is not about giving up, it's about swapping strategies. Move salt from main actor to final accent. Raise brightness with acid, elevate aroma with herbs, deepen satisfaction with umami, and construct flavor in layers so salt becomes a finishing brushstroke. Remember these 5 moves: salt in the last 2 minutes, finish with acid, and herbs, fill the middle with natural umami layer flavor. Instead of dumping salt and rely on low sodium dips and tiny finishing pinches, rather than dissolving salt into the pot, put these into tonight's dinner. Take one familiar family dish and try the sequence: aroma first, umami next, salty last, then brighten with a touch of citrus and a twist of pepper. Watch the smiles around the table as flavor returns without the old sodium load. If this guide helps you cook for your parents, or the seniors you care for, I'd love to hear which technique you'll try first and which dish you'll transform. Share your experience in the comments and tell us your best home recipe. We'll select examples to feature in future low-salt makeovers. And if you'd like more practical ideas for safer, fuller flavored eating, subscribe to Eastern Healing Table and share this episode with someone who needs it. We bring you new ways to cook with less risk and more joy every week. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.